Okay, before I actually start, I am starting on some new meds today, and I am just gonna take them right quick because I forgot to before I started recording. Oh, that one rolled really quick before I could get a chance to actually swallow it. Gross. Okay. Okay. Bleh. With that out of the way, I would like to actually get started on this. So basically what we got here is, shit, all my practicing went out my head immediately. So, this is a Cyberverse 3-pack from the Dark of the Moon toy line. Or rather, it's a 2-pack with a free bonus figure, as it was advertised in the US. In European releases, it was advertised as a 3-pack, so that they could charge full price for the additional figure. We have 3 toys here. All of them are reprints of pre-existing toys, and while this is a movie-themed set, only 2 of these were movie toys to start with. The bonus figure right here was originally in a Universe 2008 toy. So, man, I practiced everything and I forget it immediately. Sorry. So, to start this off properly, these are Cyberverse toys, and what that means is they are roughly the size, gonna slide 2 of these to the side, of a Hot Wheels car. Here's one for reference. Yeah. This was a 3-pack that I had as a kid, and I loved it so much that as soon as I was old enough to actually start making enough money to the point where I could buy toys of my own, I went out of my way to track this one down and get a copy of it. I got my copy sealed a couple years back because it was the only copy anywhere I could find. And I really like this 3-pack. I'm going to start with Bumblebee and then do Soundwave and then the bonus figure, because that's left to right how they were packaged in the box. So, starting off with Bumblebee, I got him in vehicle mode to start with. You can see a little bit of his feet hanging out, but considering how fucking small this is, I don't really care. He looks pretty good in vehicle mode, but this is just his basic movie Cyberverse mold. The only things that's really unique about this one is that he's made entirely out of gold and silver plastic with a slightly different deco. Namely, the silver Autobot insignia on the hood, the silver windows. I think the stripes are a little wider than in the normal version. And honestly, he looks really clean up front. He looks really good in his alt mode. I'm going to get into transformation right now. You start by just pulling his legs back, separating them, and then you pull down and out these forearms, and you rotate them around. And then we just flip down his hood. This is exactly the same as his basic Cyberverse toy, because it is just a repaint of it. and I don't mind that. One thing I do really like is how, because his wings are the same piece as his hood, they managed to get both of those to move at the same time without having to add in an extra step for it. And I feel like that's a really good detail. He has ball joints in his shoulders, but they're a little weird in their movement, and they can't move much. He can move his arms up and down on this joint that's necessary for his transformation. Not by much, but by a little bit. His hands are a bit big and bulky, and they don't look the greatest, but he's alright. He's also got hip joints, little ball joints on his hips, and the only real complaint I have about the robot mode is that this is just super loose. If you accidentally hit it, it'll go most of the way. But these toys did originally sell for $5 a piece, and this is just a repaint of that version. And I believe the original retail price for the whole 3-set was $10, because it was a 2-pack with an additional free bonus figure. All in all, he's alright. If you want to get a Cyberverse Bumblebee, I can't say I would recommend this one over the regular version, considering it's just gold and silver. The silver paint does not match the silver parts, but it feels intentional. There's enough of the silver paint in comparison to the silver parts that it feels like it's intentional that there's 2 different shades of silver, and I don't especially mind it. I do really like the silver windows. I feel like the silver and the gold look well together, but if you're looking for a Cyberverse Bumblebee, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this over the other one, seeing as there's not enough difference for it to matter much. If you can find this one for a decent price, then sure, I'd recommend getting it. Otherwise, it's... I don't know. He's alright. He's not my favorite of the 3. He's probably my least favorite of the set, which is why I don't play with him that often. Next, I'd like to move on to Soundwave here. Soundwave is my favorite of the set. Gonna give him a little spin around. He is a repaint of the Revenge of the Fallen. I don't remember what the size class was called for Revenge of the Fallen, but this size class of Soundwave. And that toy was completely gray for the most part. And I just feel the colors and the color separation on this version are a lot better than on the original. The blue and the gold and the spots of red all look really well together, and it just feels so good in addition to that gray and this second darker gray that is used for the paint. It doesn't match the color of the gray plastic, and it doesn't feel like it's supposed to. And I like it. It feels good. His transformation is very nice. I love to play with this guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this up. We're going to separate this, fold these up, rotate these around. We're going to just straighten out the legs, flip out his feet, fold this up over top, peg it into the torso, and then flip up that piece onto his back. He feels really solid in vehicle mode, and he feels really solid in robot mode, and he feels really solid in his satellite mode. And neither of them feels like they really sacrifice anything in need of each other, which is nice. His satellite mode is very clearly not a regular satellite mode, but it very clearly wasn't in the movie, so I don't mind that. I feel like he looks great. He has a good bit more posability than Bumblebee, or the third pack, the bonus figure. He once again has ball joints at the shoulders and at the hips, but he also has a ball joint on his head. Additionally, because of the transformation, he also has elbow joints and posable feet. They can go forward and back a little bit. He looks great, and he is my favorite of the three by far. He's actually... I don't know what I was going to say. Never mind. So I'm going to transform him back into satellite mode, and then get onto the third figure. So it's pretty easy. You just flip up the feet, you rotate them out slightly, you fold down this satellite dish that's on the back. I like how it pegs there in the same point that pegs the torso flap into place for satellite mode. So we are going to flip up his torso flap, and as you can see there, this fits in there, same as it fit into the satellite dish that becomes his backpack. There we are. Or rather, the solar panel, I think, is actually the word I meant to say. We rotate these up, we fold these down, we peg these together up here, and we fold them all the way down. That's its satellite mode. I think he looks great. I love how he looks. I feel like he is just so fucking unique in this mode. And while you can see his head, you could also see it in satellite mode in the movie. So I don't mind that. And also, when I'm holding him, his head's normally not at a part I'm looking at. Much like how Bumblebee's head isn't hidden, but it's underneath his car where I'm not looking. You know? As a kid, I loved playing with these two and pretending that Soundwave was shooting lasers out and down at Bumblebee, who was swerving and dodging out of the way. This is one of my favorite toys as a kid. This whole 3 set was. He does not stand on his own very well because he's not supposed to, but if you position him just right, he will stay, which is neat. Gonna put him over to the side, along with Bumblebee, and we are going to get into the third toy of this 3-pack. This is the bonus figure. This is Rodimus, and I think he looks really good in vehicle mode. I love the way that... I love the way the colors go together. He is primarily orange, with this kind of off-gray color being the color of his wheels and of this component back here. His spoiler here is orange plastic, painted silver, which I know because the paint's a little bit chipping on my copy. We'll get more into that in robot mode. I love how his yellow windows look, and I love how they have a slight yellow fade coming from the front to the back. And I love how the little gray outlines of flames look on the front and on the sides. As a kid, my entire exposure to G1 was my dad had me watch the 3-part pilot, More Than Meets the Eyes, and I enjoyed it a lot, but since that was all I'd seen, this was the first iteration of Rodimus for me, this toy specifically, and it became in my head what Rodimus was supposed to look like. And I still feel it's a very good design for Rodimus, and a decent movie Rodimus, I feel, would look somewhat similar to this. At least if he was intended to actually be a successor to Optimus. I feel like the yellow fading to orange would feel very... I feel like the yellow faded to orange paired with the flames would feel very reminiscent of Optimus's paint job, and it would help lead into the fact that he was supposed to be Optimus's successor if they had decided to make him look like this when he actually showed up in the later movies. They didn't, and I didn't really like the later movies, but this isn't about that, this is about these toys. I feel like this one's a great toy. How transformation works is we're going to fold the arms out, we're going to pull the legs back, we're going to flip down the hood, we're going to push the legs in, and we are going to separate the legs here, and we're going to flip up the spoiler. Hey.
Doink.
Thanks.
Be careful, it's leaking a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Got a drink now. Alright. Now, as you probably noticed, there is a good bit of paint chipping on my copy, and there's a bit of paint where it shouldn't be, especially down here. You can see the yellow. It might look like mismolded paint, and for a little while that's what I thought it was, but I'm pretty sure it's just that there's splatters of that yellow paint where it shouldn't be. His robot mode is definitely not as good as his vehicle mode. I don't think it's bad. I just feel like his vehicle mode is where he really shines. If we go around to the back here, you'll notice there's a good bit of paint chipping on his spoiler. This is here specifically because I liked to, when I first got this toy, take off the spoiler and reattach it like so, because I thought it looked better that way, and it's alright like that, but it will chip the paint to do that, so I don't really do it anymore. There's also a good chunk of paint chipping on his torso, specifically where his Autobot symbol is, and that's partially due to me grabbing him there a lot when transforming, and that's partially due to the fact that it's just a little low to the ground when in vehicle mode and can scrape against that. I think he looks alright, but his alt mode is where he really shines. Yeah, let me just transform him back. Here we are. So, yeah. There isn't really an elegant way to segue into this. I've tried thinking of one at various points, and there wasn't one. This is all that's left of my original copy of the 3-pack. Soundwave's left leg. I don't know why, but the blue seems a lot darker on this version than it is on the one that I've got now. Might just be that he got sun-stained or something. I don't know. These toys are great. I feel like they're definitely one of... Soundwave specifically is one of my favorite Transformers that I have. I feel like all three of them are okay. I feel like both Rodimus and Bumblebee shine more in their vehicle modes, and if you want to get a Bumblebee Cyberverse toy, you don't necessarily need to look out for this one, but you don't necessarily need to avoid it either. He doesn't seem to suffer from gold plastic syndrome, despite the fact that he's primarily made of gold plastic. The only thing to really worry about is it's not uncommon for any of these guys to... Well, it didn't happen with my Rodimus, but it did happen with both my Soundwave and my Bumblebee. They both lost limbs because the ball joints fell off. So I would... That's my only real concern. Sometimes when playing with them, a ball joint will fall off. These guys are pretty fucking hard to find on the secondhand market because they are tiny toys from 2011 that were advertised for kids, and they have ball joints that easily get lost, and it was a Walmart exclusive in the US and an exclusive to certain other stores in Europe. I don't remember which store specifically. But yeah. I think this whole set cost me about $20 and it was sealed, which was a great steal for me. If this isn't something you already have nostalgia for, I wouldn't recommend going out of your way to find it like I did. If you happen to see a copy of the whole 3 set going on sale, I would more than recommend it. I feel like Soundwave alone is worth at least $20 if packaged with the other 2. I feel like if you're getting all 3, it's worth $20 just to have Soundwave alone, in addition to the other 2, if that makes sense. It does not, in my head. But basically what I mean is, I wouldn't... I feel like Soundwave himself is worth at least $15. To me, at least. Having the other 2 there is an added bonus. But if you can find Soundwave in good condition in this deco, I would more than recommend him, especially if you can find him for a good price. Bumblebee is the only one of these 3 that I can find on eBay for any price. And once again, I wouldn't recommend him specifically over the regular version. They're both alright. If you want a Bumblebee in this scale, and this one looks good to you, go ahead and get it. I like this version of Rodimus, but I also understand he wouldn't be for everyone. This whole set is basically... It's a dream come true that I was able to find it. For me. But that doesn't necessarily mean you'll like it. If you think they look fun and you can find them for good prices, I would recommend getting them. But that doesn't mean they'll necessarily be your favorites, because a portion of why I like them so much is definitely that nostalgia factor. Which isn't to say they're bad, it's just that I know for certain I am looking at these guys through a little bit of a rose-tinted glass. Anyways, thanks for watching if you did. I hope you enjoyed. Good luck and goodbye.